are around 1,000 or 2,000 institutional repositories that are known. Of course, if you include also data repositories or even software repositories, where it all began, you will have completely different figures, so 10 or even 100,000 of data sources that are available worldwide. You have different document types and software platforms, you know all about this, so that you have already in the given infrastructure some considerable degree of complexity. In the case of institutional repositories, what that is, you know, what I want to point at is that you have already a high degree, comparatively high degree of standardization. So we have around 1,000 repositories that we know and that we can work with machines over the IPMH protocol. It's a very simple protocol. It's a very superficial way of interoperability, I would say. But it's there, and I think it's important because I don't know any other example in the world where repositories are connected, or 1,000 repositories are connected in such a way. They are somehow, maybe there may be 10 that are in the infrastructure, but not 1,000. So, of course, if you take the internet as such and internet servers, this is a different number. But if you look at repositories that contain specific objects, this is, I think, the only case. So you have some added value services based on this infrastructure, registries and some search engines. But from the researcher's perspective, and we already heard something about that as well, it is clear to them that visibility and impact is increased, but still it's not in a state where he finds really every information that he needs. So you still need to visit different search engines in order to find all the information you need. For example, all the publishers' material and then all the open access material. And it's not complete. And this is because the quality in the individual repositories and of course the coverage also the quality is very variable worldwide. So if you look from the aggregator's perspective, and it's because the value-added services are hardly covered so far. So you have only very simple services that are so far based on these repositories. I would say for the human-based access, we have achieved a lot, and this is so in Bielefeld we have a search service which is called Base Search, which covers 1,000 sources. It's like Oyster or something, but it's more focused really on repositories that provide full text documents. And you have access to 50 million documents, but what you do there is that you look in the individual repository and take the data, and the machine doesn't really understand what is in the data, it just takes it and presents it to the user, and the user understands what is in the data. So this is what I mean by human-based access. But for machines, this is not developed perfectly so far. And because we have such a large heterogeneity, for example, in providing full text links within the repositories, the added value services that could be based on that, like all these mining services, they cannot evolve at the moment. So there is insufficient data interoperability, and of course also there is insufficient service interoperability. So far we have a situation, this indicates the repository landscape, and if you want to build an application that is based on this information provided through the repository landscape, you have to go to all the repositories, harvest all the stuff, and if you want to build another application, you have to do the same thing again. This is obviously not very economic. And even worse, most of the the times the different applications that are provided do not speak to each other. So you have one service here, for example, the base search service in Bielefeld. We have that there. We have the Sherpa Romeo list in Nottingham, and we have, I don't know, Oyster there. But all these services do not actually speak to each other. And this is something that is really hindering the dynamic development of added value services. So here is where the driver vision is placed to provide a European node in the global network of and for repositories with a very broad vision, all types of documents, data and objects in every format with every European country in all academic disciplines. Of course, these are very big words, but the vision is in part already there, or already achieved, not in everything, but I will explain later what is achieved and what not. So what we first do is we take the existing repository infrastructure and try to build nodes. So for example, what we're doing with countries in Europe is to build nodes in the countries that provide an organizational contact point, but maybe also a technical contact point. This will vary from case to case, and to provide a middleware that makes it possible to for the services to interact. There will be different solutions within Europe, so there is not one solution. In some countries we will work with one node, in some countries we will work with different nodes, in some countries we will work with individual repositories in the countries. That really depends on the organization of the country, but the infrastructure provides that facilities for realizing these individual configurations. And the idea, but in the end, is to build a joint information space that can be also reused. So what I explained before, that not everybody, each application that is built has to go through the repository landscape again, but then that a joint information space is built and that can be reused. And all the applications that we have so far in the open access domain don't offer this.